What is going on, you guys? We have a preview today for the TIE Reaper, and it's all 2.0 stuff, so we're going to get to take a look at all these pilots, all of these upgrades, take a look at the ship card itself. I do want to remind everybody there is a new giveaway going on right now for X-Wing 2.0 conversion kits. If you would like to enter to win one, all you have to do is become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, and you will win. I'm giving away 3 cool stuff gift cards for conversion kits, so if you want to lessen the cost of getting into 2.0, this is the place to be. There's never been a better time to become a subscriber, and subscriptions are now free, although they've always been free. That being said, also make sure you click the bell right next to the subscribe thing for alerts so you can get notified when new videos come up. I will be announcing the winner before Gen Con, so well, the winners, there's going to be three winners before Gen Con, so stay tuned for that. And let's jump into this article. So, the TIE Reaper is coming out. They're only showing us 2.0 stuff. 1.0 is pretty much done. I mean, it's going to come out with 1.0 stuff. They're saying this is going to come out as early as Q2, late Q2, which I guess would be technically the end of June. So, that could be really soon. That could be like in 2 weeks, which is surprising. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but hey, yeah, that's great if that happens. Cool. We're looking at all the 2.0 stuff, so we could potentially start playing some possible 2.0 games as early as this month. You know, if you get enough of these, I mean, your list would be very, very limited because you'd be stuck running nothing but these guys, but sure, why not? If you want to buy 4 of them and just fly a bunch of these, who knows? The app probably won't be available yet, so you'll just have to go with their suggested build cards, and you can do it that way. We have our base here. It's a medium base, which is another 2.0 exclusive thing. I'm really glad that they have medium bases. It's just a great way to fill that gap because there were some ships that needed to be on a small base, but they just seemed too big for small. And then there were some ships on a large base that didn't feel right. Like the IG-2000 never felt right on that large base, but then the K-Wing didn't feel right on a small base. I'm just glad that we have a medium base now. And this is a bigger ship that wouldn't feel right on a small base, so I'm glad we get that. We also get a look at the maneuver dial here. We've got the 0 stop red. There's a lot of red on here, but it's got some interesting stuff. You've got the 1S loop, which is very, very cool. At least it does give you the ability to turn around, but there's no K-turn. It's kind of a slower ship. You don't have, your fastest maneuver is speed 3. But you're a medium base, so you're kind of going a little bit further at a speed 3 than a small ship would, but still you're pretty slow in that regard. You don't have a whole lot of blue, which used to be green. Again, if you're new to 2.0, all green maneuvers have been changed to blue. That's just a colorblind awareness kind of change. I guess blue works better for more people, so, simple change there. And but there's a lot of red. Your hard 1 turns, your hard 1 turns are red, your hard 2 turns are red. You don't have any hard 3 turns, so any hard turn is going to be red. That's tough. That's going to be harder to deal with. Although with adaptive ailerons that all these ships are going to have, you can potentially manage to get that 90-degree turn, but it's going to be a little more drawn out and a little more complex. Let's take a look at the pilots. So this is a ship that we get 3 different named pilots in this preview, which is great. This is a ship that is going to have adaptive ailerons on every version of it. That is, a pretty cool thing. It's a ship ability. So all of them are going to have this, and it's kind of like how they would have those titles that automatically went on cards. Well, they all have this now. It's mandatory. You can't ignore it. So adaptive aileron is very similar to 1.0. Before you reveal your dial, if you're not stressed, you must execute a white 1-speed straight or bank maneuver. This will be white. It won't be like according to your dial, which is blue. So it's forcing you to go a little bit faster, making up for your slow speed. So that's cool. This is, but also at the same time, sometimes you want to slow roll. So that 0 speed might actually come into effect here and help you really, really jam on the brakes. We have 3 attack die, which is pretty good. The attack dice are better now than ever because of the way evades work. Only changing a die instead of adding a result. Your 3 attack is front arc only as well. You have only 1 agility, 6 hull, and 2 shields, so you're kind of tanky, but you're not going to be able to dodge that many hits. Actions are where this ship is really standing out. We do have focus at the top. We have evade, which is standard and just not as good as it was in 1.0, but that's better for the health of the game, I think. We have the red coordinate action. So the red coordinate action is a red action, which means if you take that action, you're going to get a stress. But again, coordinate, you're giving an action to somebody else. Very, very cool. And then we have the jam action at the bottom. It's also a white action. And again, this is another 2.0 thing. White and red actions are cool. But jam is one of these actions that's not all that great. First off, we learned from the article that jam is now restricted to enemy ships at range 1 to give them a jam token. So you have to be right on top of somebody to be able to jam them. And also we learned that jam tokens go away at the end of a round. So a jam token can stop somebody from getting, a focus or a target lock or, a green token. You can stop somebody from getting that. But if it doesn't stick around, if it goes away at the end of the round, you're really not going to be able to stop them for next turn. Now, if they already have one, you can strip one away by giving a jam token. So it's useful in that regards. But at the same time, it seems like it's kind of restricted. Now, there is some stuff that we're going to learn in here that's going to synergize with jam, but jam on its own seems like it's a little bit limited of an action, so maybe not the best action out there. I think coordinate is the best action that they probably have as far as fitting into just about every build, because coordinate is always going to be useful. But that's why it's a red action. So let's look at this Initiative 2 Vizier. He is got the ability of, after you fully execute a speed 1 maneuver using your adaptive Aileron's ship ability, you may perform a coordinate action. If you do, skip your perform action step. So the idea here is, again, adaptive Ailerons is only going to work if you're not stressed, right? So you're going to do that white maneuver. You're still not stressed. Now you can do adaptive Ailerons, which is a red, at least for the base ship, it's a red action. You're going to gain a stress. Now, if you've revealed a green maneuver, or a blue maneuver, now you're going to do that move. You're going to clear your stress, but you're not going to be able to do a perform action step now, even though you've already cleared stress, because you used his ability. So it's all about positioning. This guy seems like he is all about the positioning of, well, do I want to give, I'm about to fly out of range, but before I fly out of range, let me give you a free action, and now I'll move out of range. So he is, your ideal support type of TIE Reaper. That's what he looks like to me. A great guy to support. He probably doesn't need much of anything else. He probably doesn't really need, there's some upgrades that you might want to give him, but he seems like he's pretty self-sufficient. He's got all of his stuff on the card itself, works with itself, so pretty compact, useful little dude right there, or lady. Next up, Captain Fearoff. Captain Fearoff is Initiative 3, so right in the middle, still on the lower side though. While you defend, well, how can you be in the middle and on the lower side? While you defend, if the attacker does not have any green tokens, you may change one of your eyeballs or blank results to an evade. So this is a little bit useful, but again, you only have the one die, so maybe you're going through an obstacle. It's not like it's that great, but it's okay. It's okay. I think this is a guy that's going to work better with teamwork, with somebody else. So this is synergizing with the jam action, right? So if you're able to give somebody a jam, you're kind of making sure, at least for this turn, that that they're not going to have any tokens. Granted, they could. There's still other ways for them to get tokens, especially if somebody else is running coordinate. And, like your target, they try to take a focus, but they had a jam token, so it goes away. But then somebody else gives them a coordinate or something like that, and then they take an evade or something like that. So there's basically ways for other people to, but jam makes it harder. And in this case, if Captain Fearoff is defending, against somebody who may have been jammed, or maybe even not have, they don't even necessarily have to have been jammed. There's other reasons, like maybe they just chose to boost or barrel roll. So this is discouraging somebody spending their action for maneuverability as well, which can be useful. This isn't a terrible guy. It really boils down to how much he costs as to how much value he's really going to have. Again, it's a defensive ability, so it's not really that great when somebody's only got one defense die anyway. If he's defending at speed at distance 3, however, then maybe that's a thing. But you're not always going to be able to defend at distance 3 against somebody if you have jammed them, which means you are probably at distance 1. So you know, you've got a little bit of figuring out how you're going to make that work. Again, there's other stuff in here. If you're running multiple Reapers, he might be a good one to have. Let's go ahead and look at Major Vermeil. All right, Major Vermeil is in his fancy TIE Reaper, leaving the gate at Scarif there. Maybe he escaped before the rebels showed up. Spoiler alert. So Major Vermeil is Initiative 4, so he's a little bit higher. Again, pilot skill is now called Initiative, so if you're new to 2nd edition. While you perform an attack, if the defender does not have any green tokens, again, we're seeing this again, you may change one of your focus or blank results to a hit result. Now this is a good ability. Real good ability. I really like this. This is the best TIE Reaper pilot. At least the most offensive. Because again, now he's synergizing. You have more dice. You're more likely to have, you know, a die that is blank or eyeball. So you know, again, you're going to, you know, if you jam somebody, pretty good chance that you'll be able to attack them without them, you know, without having that. And you're doing a double service here, because you're jamming them, you're stopping them from getting their own focus or their own evade. But then everybody else in your list can potentially attack them as well. And granted, they're not going to get the, you know, the extra bonus, but they are still going to get some bonus because the defender has less tools to defend themselves with. And Major Vermeil will also get the ability to convert a blank, which is great. And the eyeball is good too, because again, you probably didn't focus, right? Because if you jammed, unless you're running multiple, and then you could do both, but I don't know if I would do both. I don't know if it would be a great idea to focus with Major Vermeil if you have, you know, if you're already going to get that free focus. It's like, you know, at a certain point you're getting diminishing returns at that point. But still, I like the idea. You know, I'd rather have the ability to convert when I'm rolling 3 dice than when I'm only rolling 1 die, because I'm more likely, you know, to get results, you know, to get better results out of the 3 dice. So let's look at some of these upgrades that come here. We're getting Death Troopers. Death Troopers are limited to Imperial, which of course makes sense. And we have they use 2 crew slots. And this is a pretty straightforward ability. During the activation phase, enemy ships at range 0 to 1 cannot remove stress tokens. Now this obviously factors really well with a ship that has adaptive ailerons that want to think about their positioning. These will work better on a high pilot skill ship as well. And since cards like, you know, engine upgrade and things like that are, you know, are restricted to ships that already have a red version of that, you're going to have to rely more on those adaptive ailerons to position yourself in the right way. And more about planning rather than just be like, oh, I ended up here. All right, well, now I'll barrel roll here. So if you put these guys on the Reaper, it's going to take a little bit of skill to position yourself just right. But another reason that these Death Troopers are cool is because there's a lot less stress mitigation in the game. So, like, you know, stress is meant to be, so far, it seems like stress is going back to the roots of X-Wing 1.0, in that it's just, all right, you took a stress, you're just going to lose, that, you know, you're going to have to do a green maneuver that next turn, you know. But you know, and you're gonna have to lose 1 action, okay, and then it'll go away. But there is so many things to ignore stress. You know, you have Tycho, you have all kinds of other things to spend a stress to get rid of. Like here, you know, there was a whole lot of stuff to mitigate the damage that stress could do. That and also this synergizes with this whole build. If you don't have those green tokens because you had a stress, there's a whole lot of that. That being said, this is a way to stop that stress from coming off, so make it even harder for somebody to get rid of that stress. So now that stress effect is going to potentially hit you for 2 turns. And if they can keep up with you, maybe the whole game. You know, I don't know exactly thematically how the Death Troopers are doing that. Like maybe, you know, they open the hatch and the Death Troopers are shooting at you in space, and you're like, they have guys hanging out of the ship shooting at us. That's crazy. You know, like, and maybe I could just imagine the crew of the Ghost, like, talking about, like, how there's Death Troopers, like, leaning out of the ship's windows shooting. I don't know. I don't think we were supposed to think about it that in depth. But cool ability, and it so far doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of stuff doing this. So this is kind of going to be, at least for now, a unique ability in 2.0. The ISB Slicer, this one is probably going to be only useful on this ship but he only uses one crew slot. And during the end phase, enemy ships at range 1 to 2 cannot remove jam tokens. So now, if you were planning on being more of a jam-based ship, this is an extra insurance for you to make sure that it works. I think this guy will see a pretty good amount of use, especially in multiple Reaper builds, especially if you can get a couple of jam tokens on a ship. Now you don't have to worry about stressing them out, and they're just not going to be taken. So if, again, this is more useful for ships that don't have the booster barrel roll, that are hoping to spend their actions to focus or target lock. This is going to slow down their ability to do that, or potentially stop their ability to do that, especially if you can maintain putting jam tokens on them. But that's going to be harder because you have to be at range 1 for those jam tokens. So this makes jam tokens a little bit more worthwhile. I'm curious how much this guy's going to cost, because he's already using up one of your crew slots, and so then that restricts your ability to do like double crew and things like that. So ISB Slicer, interesting. Again, you don't have to only put him on the TIE Reaper. You could potentially put this guy on a Decimator if you wanted. If you wanted a Reaper to be carrying Death Troopers and you wanted this guy somewhere else, his ability would still work. But I don't know. It seems like you would want this guy on the Reaper. And then we have Tactical Officer. This will treat your coordinate as white. And again, it requires a red coordinate. So it's giving you the white coordinate. That's cool. And what's nice about this is, I think, well, before we jump up to Krennic, let's jump back to somebody like Vizier. So now this gives you more, like if you put this on Vizier, you can do that coordinate action. Now you're doing a white coordinate before you reveal your maneuver. And now you're not restricted to doing, white or blue maneuvers. Now you can potentially do this coordinate with your adaptive ailerons and then do a red maneuver, so you have more flexibility here. And that's an option. That's an option. So, and it makes you a better support ship, so you can just coordinate without having to deal with the stress. Especially since these ships don't have, the best blue maneuvers and the best ways to clear stress. So having white coordinate could be a very, very nice thing. That being said, let's look at Director Krennic. So Director Krennic is also a crew, and before placing forces, assign the optimized prototype condition to another friendly ship. So again, not too dissimilar from what we've seen for 1.0. It looks like he's also giving you the target lock, which, by the way, this ship doesn't have. So here is a way to also give your ship target lock capability. So they will gain, and it's a white target lock. It would again, just for clarification, it's not a red target lock. So he's going to go on one ship, and this has to be on another friendly ship. You can't put it on the same ship before you try to get those ideas, because I know some of you guys are like combo fiends and you'll try to find the most broken combo, but I mean that's part of the fun of it. So Director Krennic is going to give a target lock to the ship that he's on, and he's going to give optimized prototype to another friendly ship. And here's the optimized prototype condition card. While you perform a front arc primary attack against a ship locked by a friendly ship with Director Krennic. So in other words, if Director Krennic is on one TIE Reaper and you give a second TIE Reaper optimized prototype, when they are shooting the ship that Krennic has locked, they can spend a hit, a crit, or an eyeball result. If they do, they can choose one of two different effects. The defender loses a shield, or the defender flips one of its face-down damage cards. So that's pretty good flexibility. And a lot of this really boils down to how much it costs to put Krennic on board a ship. So that being said, I could see this. You probably want this on your higher pilot. I'm assuming I would want Krennic on a higher pilot skill ship, so that I have more likely, more likely to get a shot. You don't want necessarily on your ship that's moving first, but then again, optimized prototype is something you might also want to put on a ship that doesn't have that much offensive dice mitigation. So maybe you put optimized prototype on something like Vizier, which he's more interested in being a support ship, and maybe he's even using his his coordinate to give Krennic's ship the ability to target lock, which is a nice little built-in combo, right? And then he rolls his dice. If he can spend, you know, he didn't focus because he spent his action already. No problem, because he can spend that focus now to make the defender lose a shield. And this is while you're performing the attack, so you can make them. Maybe you roll a crit. Maybe you roll a crit, a hit, and an eyeball. You don't have the focus. Okay, no problem. Well, let's spend that eyeball result, remove a shield, and now when damage, maybe you know maybe you block one of the damage, but now that crit goes through because we got rid of your shield already. This actually reminds me of certain Armada tactics with some of the special crit stuff they have over there, which is really nice when your attack has a special component that removes a shield before the damage is assigned. That's always really cool. So I like that. I like the versatility, because even if you have no shields left, flipping damage cards face up is pretty cool. And it says the defender flips one of its face down damage cards. I'm assuming this is going to be like randomized, like they'll just have to shuffle them up and pick one at random. I don't think they're going to be able to look at them and choose which one to pick. I think it's got to be randomized, because I don't think you're allowed to look at your face down damage cards. So that being said, flipping a random face down damage card up, always nice. And crits, they get nastier and nastier with every version. So that's what we got for the Reaper today. Looking pretty nasty. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below which ship you are most eager to fly. If these do come out in June, are you going to play, are you going to try to play, and also the same thing with the Saws Renegades, are you going to try to play 2.0 games with what we have now? Are you going to try to do that? I mean, it won't be official. You won't have that 2.0 damage deck. You won't have everything you need, but I bet you can manage. Especially, I mean, so the tokens are going to be close enough. You know, the ranged ruler isn't necessarily going to have that little dot in it from 1.0, but your bases will, right? Are you going to try it? I'll try it. You know, it'll be kind of cool. Maybe we'll get some 2.0 battle reports for X-Wing up pretty soon. Let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Click the bell for alerts. Leave a comment. Enter to win that giveaway, and stay tuned for that as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.